Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rokit BMW Motorrad hospitality. More importantly, welcome Tom Sykes. Mate, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Yes, very well. Yourself?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Donington Park, home round.
Yeah.
Just run us through the season so far. Start obviously with a different manufacturer, but now back on the BMW.
Yeah, tricky one really. So yeah, started off and just a very, very long story short, that relationship, can't say came to an end. The relationship continues, of course, because of the level of respect. But just that situation came to an end, and then another situation, i.e. this one, came around. So obviously, rather than sitting at home, I think a factory BMW ride was a much better option. So really, really happy to have that possibility. And here in Donington, I really hope we can have a successful weekend.
What's it like being back in the team? You know, it's almost like putting on an old pair of slippers, but with a different motorcycle now.
Yeah, exactly. Different motorcycle. And for me, I just fell straight back into things. You know, I'm working with a different set of lads, you know, essentially, as the words go in bike terms, I'm on the other side of the garage. But really got a good set of lads. The work ethic is fantastic. We just instantly gelled, you know, in the test in Misano. So yes, really now I want to try and get down to business. You know, the guys have made big steps forward with the bike in a lot of areas, but just for me, I'm struggling a little bit just with some of the characteristics on handling. So I really would like to sort that out, and in that case, I feel I would unleash more of the, you know, M1000RR potential, the engine. You know, they've made a massive step with this from the last time I rode it, and even that alone, I really felt that the results should be much better yet.
What are the strengths on the motorcycle compared to when you rode it last time?
Yeah, I mean, they've made big improvements with the engine. I mean, that's a different gravy to what I used to have. So the engine, electronics are a lot more refined. I like more a little bit the seating, you know, the seating position, just the feeling, you know, sat on the motorcycle feels better. So many things. The only question I've kind of had is if we can improve the handling yet.
What do you think needs to happen on that front? You're the man in control, you know, on the bike.
Yeah, I mean, I could give my opinion, but I mean, there's other BMW riders, there's their engineers involved in that. I have a different opinion because, of course, when I rode the bike a few years ago, I actually felt very strong on handling, and I felt I could take some liberties when it came to late braking, etc. Unfortunately, that seems to have been sidelined. They've improved most of the other areas. I've just lost out on that one, which unfortunately is kind of key for me and my style. Yeah.
So running at World Superbikes, the level that the racing at here, I sometimes feel it's a little bit misunderstood. The level that the racing is at here. How much do you enjoy still racing at World Superbike level?
Love it, absolutely love it, because it's a challenge for myself, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think World Superbikes is at a very, very high level. You know, you've seen that with a very, you know, Bradley Ray, very talented rider, British champion. He's come here with a bike that he knows, and you know, it's plain to see that it's not easy. Not only that, I think when you compare some of the lap times to what they do in GP and riders, etc. Yeah, to say we're on production-based bikes with price cap on brakes and suspension, etc. I think World Superbike, certainly the you know, the handful of riders at the front, I don't think they get enough credit for what they're doing, let's say.
I fully agree with that. That's something that I'm trying to get across in the chats we've had. We spoke to Brad earlier on, and he was explaining the differences between what he was doing last year and where he is this year. Obviously, you were in the British Superbike Championship last year as well, to then return to World Superbikes. Talk to me about the electronics on a World Superbike and just how different it is to almost anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
in a production version.
Yeah, honestly, you may be asking the wrong person, because I've been in World Superbikes a long time. I went to BSB, and you know, people go on about electronics, and you know, I think there was a few people mentioned to me, "Oh, are you finding it difficult because there's no electronics?" You know, it's quite an insult, if I'm being honest, because no, it's a motorcycle, and most decent riders, if you have full electronics or zero electronics, it's quite simple. You know what your throttle is doing to the engine to the rear tire, your rear tire to the tarmac, the difference in rear speed to the front speed. You know, that's all going on, I presume, inside a rider's head. So if you put me at Donington Park with no electronics, I'll only go down Craner curves and everything with the wheel spinning at a certain percent compared to the front. And at that point, I'll be patient and keep the throttle steady. And, you know, people say, no, if I have electronics, I won't open the throttle anymore. You know, yes, the electronics will do their bit, the rider will do their bit, and together you try and make a better lap time. But if you take off the electronics, so I don't know. I think it's a bit of a sticky one, that, and I think for, you know, the general person, yes, okay, electronics are going to help for sure. You know, you're not going to get over ambitious with the throttle and create yourself a problem. You know, most top level riders wouldn't do that. You know, you'd ride to that level, and you know, if you open that 5% as a spike, you'll see the stars. So yeah, electronics, I think we can, you know, if you've got a few hours, we can cover it in more you know, in more detail. But no,
but just by the very nature of your answer there, I think you've answered it perfectly. Even if it's not the right, I think you are quite the right man to ask about that, because I think it's fascinating that you're a motorcycle racer.
Yeah.
So the connection between throttle, engine, rear tire, grip is there all the time. Nobody, as far as I know, actually relies fully on the electronics.
Well, I don't know. There's some riders who.
Or do you think there are?
Yeah, there's some riders who really lean on their electronics, and I think it's, well, luckily for me, you know, like I said, I've been racing superbikes a long time. Electronics weren't as advanced back then, so it's kind of, I've had the full circle of it all. But no, I just think any talented rider, they're never gonna basically put the balls on the line and depend on electronics. And if they do, then I'm sorry to say, but it's a little bit stupid approach, because you will get bitten. Yeah.
As a rider with so much experience in the World Superbike Championship, what keeps you motivated?
The chance or opportunity to win. There you go. And because there's no substitute for winning a race. I mean, okay, winning a World Championship was pretty good. I think that topped it. But when you win a race, you know, with the effort that goes into it, not just you personally, whether it's your family, your friends, you know, people that are behind you, the whole of the team and the sponsors. I mean, the amount of times I've come over the line and seeing the lads hanging over the fence, that to me is almost as much satisfaction as myself winning, you know, to see them boys. Because, you know, if you bend a bike and they're working till 2 o'clock in the morning, free practice is at 9:30 in the morning, don't give them much rest. And you know, at the end of the day, they're spending time away from their families as well, and it's a team effort.
In terms of the racing so far this season, what's been the highlight for you?
What, just in general, for me personally, or just watching.
No, for you personally, 'cause it's not been the easiest of seasons.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's been too many highlights this year for me. It has actually been a little bit of a character building season. So, I've been blessed for a long time. Kind of me and my granddad set out about the racing, and long story short, we managed to get to where we want it to be. How the hell we became world champions is something we never expected, but we're very grateful for that. And then since then, I've had a fantastic run of years in World Superbikes. So this year's just been a test, and highlight is honestly, being brutally honest, I'm still working on it. So let's see what Donington Park brings.
Well, let's see. It's a fantastic circuit for you historically.
Yep.
Hopefully you can get what you need out of the package, and that will continue to develop through the season. And we look forward to seeing you progress, and hopefully on the podium after the weekend.
That's the plan. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Tom Sykes, thank you, mate.
Top man, thank you.
We'll continue in SMR's hospitality. We are Rokit, BMW Motorrad Hospitality, and team boss Shaun Muir. Shaun, welcome to Off Track, mate. Good to see you.
And you, mate. Yeah, it's been a while.
Can I just get you just to lift that up a little bit? That's it. It's been far too long. 10 years since we last did this.
Wow.
Things have moved on.
What year was that been then?
It's been 9 years. 2014. Down at Brands Hatch, you had
Milwaukee.
Josh. Milwaukee days. Yeah. Things have moved on a bit.
They have a bit, yeah, just a bit.
How are things with you?
Yeah, good. We've had a tough year so far, but we can see light at the end of the tunnel. But we're always making those steps. Just got to keep pushing on.
Talk to me about the BMW journey so far.
Yeah.
Developing the manufacturer and being the spearhead for BMW and World Superbikes. How has that project worked so far, and what's coming up over the next sort of 18 months or so?
So the project was born, this version of it, back end of 2018. Mark Bongers and myself, we presented to BMW the opportunity for World Superbike. That started in 2019. It was a big challenge in 2019. The bike was new. We were very late starting it, but for us it was a decision to make and to go for, and it got the full support from the manufacturer, and for us it was a great start. And then we quickly signed Tom, which was a great figurehead to start the championship with, ex-world champion. And we already had Markus Reiterberger, again, a German rider on a German manufacturer, and he just won the World Super Stock Championship. So everything kind of made sense, and that's where it started. So 19, 20, 21 with Tom. Marcus replaced by Eugene, and we were making steps. We had some good podiums in them first years. Podiums not just in wet conditions, but in dry conditions. So it just showed the true pedigree of the bike. As a base bike, it was a solid bike to start with. So, as it grew, as the momentum grew with that, we started to kind of become a force in the paddock. We felt we had a place and a meaning to be in the World Superbike Championship, and being representing the manufacturers as we do, we're mighty proud of that. British team, we've got a good cross mix of engineers from all over the world. So the journey's taking little steps, and those steps are getting longer, and those strides are getting longer, and our reputation is getting bigger as a manufacturer. I think it's quite clear the commitment from BMW Motorrad is clear to see. We're here for the journey, and the ambitions are the big, and we're going to stride forward.
The level of competition in this championship is huge, so that shouldn't be underestimated with the challenge that you've got.
Look, I said from the get-go, when I came back in here in this championship in 2016 with BMW, with Milwaukee, and with Gulf, we were a part of the customer program. We then brought the then British champion with us, Josh Brooks, and I made some bold statements then, and I quickly had to eat my words. Yes, we can be in the top 6, and we can maybe nick a podium, and so on and so forth. And we've grown up. The team around us have grown up, and we've grown up together, and we certainly don't underestimate, Dave, the length and the depth and of the quality of the opposition. And no matter what work you do as a manufacturer, whether it's powertrain, chassis, electronics, everybody else is doing exactly the same as you to try and steal the march. So, when we look across the paddock and look at how the championship's represented now, yeah, we you know, we have our work cut out, you know, and I don't believe there's any other manufacturer in the paddock that can say that they're doing any more than what we're trying to do, and that speaks volumes. That the commitment from the championship to the championship and the riders that we're signing and the support crew behind that is testament to it.
Are you enjoying it?
Some of it's good, some of it's bad. You know, you don't enjoy a long haul back from Australia when you haven't even broken in the top 10. Equally, I remind everyone, you know, one of my biggest jobs is motivating everyone, keeping everyone on the toes. You know, we can break through, we can get to the side. You fast forget the hard times when that success comes. You know, we started the project, as I said, in 19. Tom took a podium. You might have had 2 in the first year, and one of those, the president of Motorrad, Dr. Marcus Schramm, was there. And honestly, the emotion that was flowing that day, you forget everything behind you. And it's not just me, it's the tyre guys, it's the girls in VIP, it's everybody's part of that. So yeah, you have tough times, absolutely you do. I've had tough times all my life running a race team all the way through, but you quickly forget the pain. You look forward to the successes, and that's what we strive for.
What keeps you motivated to do this?
Exactly that. You know, I think, you know, you could easily just say, I'm going to turn this off and walk away. Me personally, you know, I was ex-racer, not at the very, very top, but I was certainly competing in British Championship at a good level. I look around and I always want to try and put the best out that I can, whether that's the pit box, whether that's the best mechanics, whether that's the coordination, the organisation, the equipment, the material that we're using. I always want to just try and make sure that we've got the best we possibly can have. And when I look down pit lane, I always feel we're competing with the best. Of course, that also extends to what we're doing on track. But that's just not me that can influence that. You know, I need BMW, the manufacturer, behind me. I need the supply chain that's behind us as well. And I'm seeing that happening now, and I'm seeing things that weren't there in 1920 that are now coming for 23, 24, 25 and beyond. So that's what gives me hope, and that's what I'm striving towards.
When you look back over your seasons so far in World Superbike, and I know you're always on the front foot, I've known you a long time now, you're always positive, always motivated. What's been your most satisfying moment up to the point where we're sat here now?
In World Superbike?
Yeah.
You know, several of them really. I mean, little insignificant points really wouldn't stand out to many people, but you know, when I knew Mark Bongers right from the get-go, he was one of my engineers when we were with Carol Abraham and Josh Brooks, and Mark and I always joke, you know, it'd be fantastic if we could really get that full manufacturer support and we could really make that step. At that point, the head of BMW Motorsport was Bertie Hauser. Again, if you've met Bertie, what a super passionate, and I mean emotional, passionate guy he is about racing. Whenever we get a result now, Bertie's the first to message me. So you asked me the question, you know, what have been that? When Mark and I, when Mark and I walked out Dr. Schramm's office in July, August of 2018, and he'd said, we're going to go racing, we were like, right, this is it. This is our chance to make it happen. That's probably got to be one of the best moments I've had. That was in Munich in Dr. Schramm's office. One of the other ones on track, and the on-track side of it was funny of one of Tom's, I think it was Tom's Mazzano performance, which was, yeah, everyone was there. You know, we'd built it up from where we were. We'd had a really decent start to the year. Progress was still coming, we were still climbing up, and I think it might have been the first event that year that Dr. Schramm came to an event, and again, he gets involved with us, he sits, he eats, he works, he talks to the team, he's involved with it, and Tom went and got a podium. He never just got a third, I think he got a second in that race, but he grounded out, and he was unbelievable, and the emotion there is fantastic. That's probably my highlight. I got there eventually.
It's fine. It's all about you. It's not about me. So the more you talk, it's better for me that way. What do you think what element of the machine are you working on at the moment to improve the results or for the feel for the riders? What's the biggest area to work on, do you think?
Tough one, that. I've got to compartmentalize it into 3 parts. There's not just one. Yeah, we've got chassis, powertrain, and electronics. I could sit here for till the sun goes down, and we can talk about the 3 variations of what makes it all work, because we can improve one area and it's a deficit to another. You know, it was quite clear in 1920 we had probably one of the slowest engines on the grid. We've now got one of the strongest ones, but it hurts us in other areas. We're now using huge amounts of tyre, which means we've got to work harder on electronics and work harder on chassis. We go back then to start reducing power, giving more usable power in different areas that's more sympathetic to the tyre. So it's never ending. Any engineer is going to tell you that, and I'm not a real engineer in that sense, but I do see the struggles. But the overall element of trying to get this package to work is combining those 3. The electronic and chassis is the focus right now. This current evolution of the M1000 RI is with us for this year or next year. We won't see a new version come out, I believe, till beyond that. So we have to work with the packages that we have. And so that chassis and those electronics are probably the key areas for us. So when you're looking at that, you're looking at forks, triple clamps, chassis, swing arm, pivot position. So there's quite a lot of variations with that. We had great success last year with Scott starting at Donington. You know, from Donington, Most, I can't remember the other ones after that, but we had a real strong run of podiums. And you know, some circuits suit our bike. You know, we've got to make it a bike that suits every track, not a track that suits our bike. We've got to turn it the other way around. So you know, electronics and chassis work are really the key for us at the moment.
There have been times this season that we've noticed on the TV, we talk about Scott and Michael, obviously, on his healing process as he is now from his incident at Assen. How do you deal with rider emotions? Because you have a rider that wears his heart on his sleeve, and you have one that's more considered and a little bit more relaxed in how he approaches racing. Yeah. From a quite interested in the not the HR, but the human side of things, and how you deal with the riders and different. When you see,
what you're really trying to say is, how do we manage Scott when his head's right down, and how do we bring him up?
If you want to put it that way,
how do we work around that? So, look, I mean, you know, one of the biggest aspects to motorsport now, whether you're in F1 or in World Superbike, is you know, is the mental approach. You know, it's those guys can train like crazy, be ultimate athletes, but at the end of the day, if what's upstairs isn't quite syncing with everything else, we've got to work on that. Emotionally, it's something that's come to the forefront now. Psychology in any sport is a real strong aspect to any winner. For us, for working with what we have, you know, you're right, we have 2 complete different characters. Michael's much more laid back, much more, you know, he has a much more patient approach to himself. Scott's completely polar opposite to that, you know. You could say from the outside looking in, you know, he wants the bike ready now. You know, we can't just flick a switch and give him that bike. Of course, that's difficult for us. You know, of course, we've had to temper that with Scott, and we've got to pull him in a bit more, and you know, 1 step back to take 2 forwards, and that's quite apparent for us all. You know, and he has got a management team around him. You know, we've got to work with those guys. I'm trying to give you an answer I think you're looking for, in the sense that, you know, we've got to sit Scott down at times and say, look, mate, you've got to just sit, be patient, let it come to you. You've got to build on this, because in racing, you can't just flick a switch and be P1 in one race and then P15 at the next. We've got to build that momentum. And that momentum for us started here last year. And I'd like to think that we maybe can turn that corner again. You know, he's only in the middle of his 2nd year on this bike. And the biggest trouble for Scott, and I do maintain, I'll stay on the point with Scott, is that he came off a winning package. He chose to join the project. We knew we had challenges in front of us. I think what's happened over the last 4 weeks in rider changes has kind of subconsciously motivated people. Michael's a different character to manage. You know, you can't judge who's the better or worse rider. You judge by the performances. But for sure, it's one of my biggest jobs. You know, away from the circuit, it's one thing I do more than I do at the circuit. Is just, I'm talking to the guys, tuning them up. How are we getting on? What's happening? What you're training? What you're doing? How's things going? And just trying to keep that momentum going, because I don't really like the big gaps between one race to another. You leave on a Sunday night, you don't see the guys next to the Wednesday before the race, and 2-3 weeks could pass by there. So it's a real challenge. I think a lot of manufacturers could do a lot more in that respect as well. It's something we are addressing. SMR and BMW Motorrad are addressing that. along the rider coach, rider confidant, that kind of thing, to give the rider in the pit box someone a perspective that they can look at and talk to, and maybe go out and track and do spotting and understanding. Why am I struggling here? Well, you're struggling here because Garrett's there, Loris is there, Mikey's there, and you're over here. You've got to look and change and whatever. And I think coming from a rider is a much stronger thing, and that's all part of that mental preparation.
I think it's fascinating, especially from your point of view, because you've worked with riders that can be quite particular.
Yeah.
Tom has a particular way of setting his bike up and riding. Josh is another one.
Yeah.
So it's just another one onto the list of riders that you've worked with that take a certain kind of understanding. So it's just interesting to know how you've changed that approach in terms of your management style to cope with that.
Yeah, I mean, look, some riders I've got on brilliantly with, and I could socialise out from the track, and some guys just don't let you in. It's as simple as that. I mean, I had, when we won with Tommy in 11, a great guy, but he just wasn't really a socialiser. I'm not going to say he was anything, he wasn't a good guy. You didn't go and get smashed at the pub. He wasn't that type of guy. Where Hager was different. He'd be on smoking Regals and on the beer in the pub at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. Polar opposites, and there was a guy that was, So it's really difficult, and it's difficult to judge how to manage that. Scott on one hand, he is a different character. I won't say he's a complex character. He's just different. Don't forget, he's been racing since 13, 14 in this paddock. He's been in some fantastic teams. He's been at the very front. We got to work with him. We got to work with Michael. Equally, I get really buzzed when I see what Garrett did at Mazzano and whatever. I was the first to go in their box and fist pump him, because to me it's the project.
How does the Bonovo project fit into the Rokit BMW Motorrad? So what's the word I'm looking for? Not hierarchy. What's the word? Into the family.
Yeah,
into the family.
Well, the good thing about all that is that I get on great with Michael, which is a good help. Gilinski's an ex-racer, domestic level top there, ex-championship rider. So we got a similar mindset. When they came on with Eugene with one rider, then expanded that to 2 riders. A lot of the stuff I asked for BMW to do early days was contract the riders as factory riders. That's all the 4 of them. Then you're in control of that entity. The machinery is identical, absolutely identical. I could close my eyes and pick any one of those bikes and change the bodywork about. And I don't believe that happens in this paddock much, if anywhere. And that is huge, and it's a huge commitment from BMW. So there's 4 strong bikes on that grid there. The only difference, honestly speaking, is the engineers that are prepping the bike to go down pit lane and the rider that's on it. The machinery, the access to equipment and data is the same. So it's a help when we need it, and we need to work together as we do, and we brief together. And to me, I just don't think BMW could win this championship with just 1 2-rider team. I think they need that. They need that to work together. Okay, there's an A and a B, or a 1 and a 2. I mean, there isn't in terms of BMW and how we phrase it. I just happen to be the reference team, and BMW and Bonovo are the second team. But in terms of material and availability of equipment, it is identical. I can vouch for that.
When I've asked Jonathan this and Alex, and I ask yourself this, especially from a team boss perspective, you sat in the airport at Villicum, middle of October. You're looking back on the season, waiting for your flight. What is it going to take for you to sit there and be, yes, I'm satisfied with 2023. Let's move on to 24.
It's a tough one. Villicum, San Juan. I was going to think, yeah. Oh, it's a tough one, that. I think we really now, right here, as we're sat here today at Donington Park, we need to start our season. We need to start some momentum. I think if we could pick up where we left off last year in terms of performances going through between here, Imola, Most, Magny-Cours, I think that would for us. And what happened last year is the same thing that happened. We kind of petered out. We didn't finish it off, and that was quite upsetting for us all, really, because we thought we could have just followed that through into pre-season. I'd like to think we could have nicked a couple of podiums and picked up that momentum from last year, and then go into pre-season, whichever lineup we have, with a new outlook of which, from where I'm sat, is super positive.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer.
Yeah.
It's not the right time to talk about next year's lineup. We'll talk about that if we get to do this down at Portimao, hopefully later in the season. But Shaun, thank you so much for your time. I know you're busy. I really appreciate it. No problem. And we hope those the podiums and the push for the top fives come through, and you end the season the way that you want to, mate.
Cheers, mate. Well done.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Cheers.